This is Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 23rd, 2022 meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District Board. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Going to call the meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District, August 23rd, 2022 to order. Can we salute the flag?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mitch had another meeting, right?
Marcella Kunstad,
Yes.
Gary Jackson,
Here.
John Carr,
Here.
Delia Zegas,
Present.
Mark Danielson,
Present.
Amanda Lainers.
Here.
That is by Zoom.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, guys.
Okay, moving on to public comments. Anyone wishing to speak needs to state their name and address for the record, and we'll have 3 minutes to speak. Is there anybody here for public comment?
If you could also sign in and sign in sheet.
Anybody here for public comment?
No public comments. Anybody on Zoom for public comments? Joyce, you're the only.
Okay, public comment is now closed. Reports, Steve Carter, Claims and Finances.
For Rolling Prairie, for the month of July, we had receipts of $10,528. Operating disbursements, $5,076. Reimbursements back to customers of $20,000. And loan repayment to the county of $1,830. Negative cash flow for the month of July is negative $16,374. Ending cash $17,532.62. All of that in the Horizon checking account. And there were transfers on the second page there, the normal transfers into the bond and interest account and to the debt service reserve. For the toll road, for the month of July, normal receipts of $26,960, disbursements of $29,652, $261 in interest income, ending balance $432,939.13. Of that amount, $181,117.81 is in the Horizon checking account and $251,761.32 in the improvement fund held by the Hoosier Fund. Claims for the month total $48,661.30. Woodruff is on there again. We'll get that paid today. And also we have a placeholder for 10 customer reimbursements for the connections. Okay, we can modify that if the board wants to do that. I think the one I saw was 10, but I didn't open stuff you sent yesterday. I was out.
It's definitely modified.
So it's 12 plus 10 or 10 plus 2 for 12?
12 for sure, yeah.
Okay.
Jennifer, weren't there were two sheets. One had 7.
I was just showing you the ones from last month.
Ah, okay. Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. We
Okay.
can modify.
So if that is 12,000, then the approval amount would be 50,661.30. I think with the board's approval, I'll go ahead and pay Woodruff out of Toll Road. We are running fairly low on funds. In Rolling Prairie, do we know timing of when we'll get reimbursement from the SRF for those? Okay.
There's a lot of paperwork with all these checks. that
Well-
they have to have, like 4 pages for each submittal, so I don't know how long, since it's the first time they'll have it. So I have no idea how long it'll take them to process.
So we,
Are you going to include the 12 that we're approving today with that? Okay, so I need to know if I need to hold off on writing those checks.
I mean, the property owners are expecting it. Because they're. I mean, I guess it's up to the board, but they're asking when they're gonna get it. And technically, we can't send this into for payment until the checks are wrote.
okay.
So
We-
basically, the checks have to be written and they have to be in their hands before we can ask for the money.
According to how the funding agency wants it processed.
So we can't do anything different except go ahead and
Transfer.
Yeah.
transfer money and go ahead.
That's how they wanted it, right, Ken? That's the process they want. District has to pay it. We gotta show proof that we paid it,
Okay.
and then we have to submit it for payment.
Ken, do you have any idea? Have you ever done this?
Never done it.
You never? Okay, never mind.
All new.
Okay, it's all new. Okay.
I mean, they usually have it within a couple weeks, but I have had to call them and ask them, and it's, gets them rolling, but
Okay.
Yeah, we specifically asked them, if we could approve it and then wait until we received funds from them before we paid it. And they said, no, you have to pay it.
Okay.
You have to pay it up front. Once we know and we see that you've paid it up front, then we'll reimburse you.
Okay.
So,
I guess we'll all learn on this one.
yeah.
Anything else?
Do we need a motion on that or anything, Jeff?
Motion to approve the claims?
with the claims,
Yes.
yeah.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims.
John, if I
Yeah.
could interrupt, I think we need to make it whether we're approving the
Transfer.
claims as written or the claims including 2 additional reimbursements. Meaning,
My-
I think the
My
total
motion-
number,
Yeah, my motion would be to include the 10 plus the 2, the total.
Okay.
So 50,661.30.
Yep.
So motion by Mark,
Second?
second by Marcy.
Any questions on the motion?
Yeah, I got a question. You got a motion on the floor. She needs to read the motion as she's written it down, not verbal. Then you vote on that, what she's read. Robert's Rules of Order.
I think you can proceed with what you were doing.
Okay. Any other questions on the motion?
There's
All
a
those in-
motion, there's a second. If there's no other discussion, you can take them, and it's got to be a roll vote because we're here via Zoom.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Well, Jennifer.
It's got to be a roll vote.
Oh, roll call. We got a call.
Marcella Kunstick,
Yes.
Jerry Jackson,
Aye.
John Carr,
Aye.
Dahlia Zegas. Aye. Mark Danielson,
Aye.
Amanda Laners,
Aye.
Okay. No report from Asbury. Is that correct?
it came in late last night,
here.
Oh, okay.
but I didn't have a time to print it off, so Chris is on Zoom.
Okay, Chris, you're up.
There are no issues at the water plant or the waste treatment plant, but there are some other issues surrounding the system. Lift station there's a problem with one of the pumps. One of the pumps is not pumping correctly. So we have scheduled tomorrow to have the lift station clean and pull each of the pumps and get them cleaned out. Additionally, there should have been a proposal sent in by Peerless Midwest that has some check valves on hand. Did we receive those? That
I recall seeing something from Peerless.
Is that the one that was in the invoice? No.
you should have sent a proposal for some check valves, so we have some on the shelves. So if any of them fail, that they can be replaced, and we're not waiting 6 months for replacement.
Is that the invoice for $405?
No.
Okay, that's for a VFD, so I don't think it's the same thing.
I don't know that I've seen it then.
Okay. Well, I'll
I have it here.
I'll touch base with Peerless again and see if they can make sure they get it sent.
What check valves are these? What are they used for?
They're after the high pressure pumps that keep pressure on the system. If one of them fails, it's a catastrophic event. Now all the water leaks back into the storage tank. That's more or less what happens. And we can't. I wouldn't feel comfortable with not having at least one of these on the shelf. If so we're not. It mainly due to the supply chain is just taking so long to get things. Now, if we don't have it on the shelf, we could be waiting a long time.
Is that like a 4 or 6 inch valve?
I believe it's a 4-inch.
Yeah, I agree with having it on shelf. We ought to, is that something we should just buy and have in the shop, because it's, we're talking $600-800 probably.
Yes, that's my intention is to purchase them, have them on the shelf. So if something were to happen, it's just about getting somebody out there to change it out. There's no long lead time then.
Yep.
So
I believe it was in the second set of emails. I found a Peerless invoice in the second set of emails from Jennifer.
Yeah, that's the one that's already on the claims.
It's like a service call, I believe.
Right. It wouldn't have been an invoice. It just would have been a proposal.
I see.
Yeah, I don't recall receiving anything from Peerless.
Okay. Well, I asked him to send it to you. I thought I remember seeing your name on that chain, so I'll touch base with him again.
Okay.
The other things that are on the docket are the heating and cooling. I did get a call from our heating and cooling guy. He wants to re-up the maintenance part of it.
Yeah.
I gave him your name, Jennifer. Did he send you a proposal?
Yeah, I sent that to you guys in your packet, I believe, from Maple.
Maple City Mechanical.
Yeah, Maple
Mechanical.
City. They raised it $20 for another service contract.
I didn't see that.
You see that in there? At least I thought I did.
What's the annual? I didn't see it. What's the annual cost?
I can't
I'm
remember.
looking for it. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But
Maybe I forgot that one too. I think it was $240, $270.
okay.
Lose me.
Chris, this is Mark. One more question. When you say on the shelf, what do you mean by that? In your facility or the guy that's going to install them?
No, it'll be on site.
Thank you.
We ordered a part, we put it on site, so we're not. It doesn't have to be a certain individual to install it. It's just.
Thank you.
I think I other one.
Additionally, I'm questioning about the generator maintenance.
Okay.
I haven't seen anybody come out and do any kind of maintenance on the generator. And I don't know, I thought we had a contract with somebody
H&T,
to service all the generators.
I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, there was a local guy, H&T Electric,
H&T, okay.
that wasn't he gonna do the,
I believe so.
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah.
an electrical guy.
I'm gonna pull up the contracts and see
yeah,
what the status is, and I'll look at it and call them. And
yeah,
I'll let Chris know.
yeah.
So if we get that proposal, Chris, do you want us to expedite that, or or can we wait till the next meeting?
For the generator?
Or
I'm talking for the pumps.
The check valves, you mean?
Yeah, the check valves.
it could wait. We could wait until get approval till next month.
Okay.
I'll look for it again. If I don't have it, I'll let you know, or you can contact them and have them send it to me.
Okay.
I think it's a good.
Thirdly is as far as the maintenance on the building themselves. I've called the guy a couple times and sent him a text, and he's just not responding as far as getting the roof leak fixed. So I don't have another contractor for someone to do a metal building maintenance.
Who are you talking about? You sent text to?
They were called
It was called the contractor was called the A-Team to fix the leaks in the on the roof for
I'm gonna-
both of the water building and the waste treatment building.
Chris, I'm gonna take that over and get a couple quotes. I have a couple people to call.
Okay.
And then in the meantime, Chris, this is Mark. When Mitch and I were out there yesterday, he's going to try to get a hold of his gutter cleaner. And before the roofer comes out, he really needs to have those gutters cleaned, because my assumption is one or two of the leaks are coming right there where you're not getting any passage from the downspout to the gutter. So
No, it's actually in the leaks almost at the peak where the furnace pokes out the roof. That's where the leaks are happening.
well, then we probably need to apply or try to go ahead and pass the furnace. Well, he might not even touch the roof.
Yeah, electrical guy.
Well, on the furnace, you wanted we have to have a motion for the guy to do the yearly check maintenance on the air conditioning and heating. Some of them will put that on up, fix the roof, and some may not. So I don't know how to answer that.
Okay.
So does Maple City.
Do we need a motion?
Those are the things on my list. Like I said, the most important of those items is the lift station that we're working with LaPorte, come out and get it cleaned and pull the pumps and get them cleaned tomorrow morning.
Okay.
The pumps are rail mounted, right? You can pull those without a vac truck.
Yes, but our intention is to pull the one that's clogged, or pull both to clean it. We're going to pull both the pumps so they could clean the whole bottom, and then we'll reinstall the pumps after that.
I'm not. Yeah, that makes sense. We make it a practice to clean all our wet wells once or twice a year. So if you want to schedule that in, that would make sense to me.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Press.
Thanks. Anything else for Chris? Do we need to have a motion for the yearly maintenance for Maple City Mechanical, not to exceed $350?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Chris, were you asking for a board approval of the increase, or do you not need any board approval this month for anything?
Yeah, I don't need a board approval for anything. I had Maple City send the quote to Jennifer, so it could be put before the board.
He sent me an email and I forgot to include it in your packets, but it just increased by $20. That's all it
So you're
increased.
talking $300, something like
Yeah,
that?
it was under that.
Okay.
So,
Let's do that.
And then I want to review all the other contracts that Chris is saying that people haven't come out to look at the generators and bring them all in next month.
Okay.
so I'll make a motion for the heating and air conditioning quote for 1 year, $300 or less, to go ahead and get that going.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a 1 year maintenance for Maple City Mechanical not to exceed $300. Are there any questions on the motion? All those in favor, Jennifer, do roll call, please.
Marcella Kunstig,
Yes.
Jerry Jackson,
Aye.
John Carr,
Yes.
Delia Zegas.
Aye.
Mark Danielson,
Aye.
Amanda Laners.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to JPR. Billing, collections, liens, permit, inspection fees collected.
There is nothing more than what I had in the report. Starting collection letters are going out to file liens for the end of the year. And then we already discussed the reimbursement plan for the customer connections. There's about, I think there's been, I counted about 68 connections. I was thinking about possibly doing another round of letters to the ones that are in the phase 2, that about the deadline coming up October 1st, and taking advantage of the reimbursement program. And then also a separate letter to the ones that are in like the phase 1 but are still required to connect, but are not eligible for the reimbursement. Have 2 separate letters
Makes sense.
Good idea, yeah.
because, there's 2 separate.
You don't need a motion for that, they just,
I don't think so. I mean,
No.
no,
that's what we'll do.
thank you.
Sounds good.
Okay, any questions? Okay, moving on to phase 2 update.
Okay. Connecting, property owner connections continue. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot to say about phase 2. I would report that we had been forwarded a request from Jerry relative to a residential subdivision that wants to connect to the district's force main connection to the city of LaPorte. And so what Jerry wanted us to do is to look at the 350 East lift station to determine whether there was adequate capacity to allow for the connection of a 237 unit subdivision. And from our review, it does appear that is acceptable. One of the things that we would point out, though, is that adding a new lift station in the residential subdivision and then taking flow from the Hatfield Road subdivision appears to look like that gallon per minute delivery to the lift station wouldn't be appropriate. Where the 350 East lift station is rated at 154 gallons a minute. However, there appears to be plenty of capacity in the wet well to increase the storage and between pump intervals to be able to accommodate that. So, and that would just be a matter of adjusting the float switches and confirming that we can actually get from 1,231 gallons of storage to 1,500 and almost 90 gallons of storage. So it looks like there wouldn't be any need for any capital expense to allow the connection. Relative to the subdivision, there would be a couple things that we'd recommend the board consider going forward. At some point in time, we are going to have to issue, and I believe this would come from you, Jerry, waste load allocation certification for their.
It seemed appropriate that there be 2 because the the wastewater treatment plant and LaPorte's collection system would require a letter, then the regional sewer district
Probably so.
collection system would require a letter.
Okay, we'll advise them of that, and,
How would the board, how does the regional sewer district issue such a letter? Does that,
I don't think we've ever been asked to issue.
I don't
such-
think
at
so
least
either.
Since I've been here, I have no clue.
yeah. Generally, it's the certified operator who does that, but, I mean,
Which is,
I guess LaPorte's the operator of the collection system?
so maybe you'd issue one for
Maybe I-
LaPorte, one for
Yeah.
district. That makes sense.
Interesting.
So,
so we're clear, Jerry, what is that, or Ken, what's that a prerequisite to? That report or that certification is needed for, is it part of the subdivision process in the county, or?
It is a development to get a sewer construction permit from IDEM needs certification that there's capacity available for the sewer system.
right.
So before they could get a sewer construction permit, they need this letter.
So I think between Jerry and us, we can make that happen when they request it. I don't know, if, we want the board to act on that if it's requested, but I think there's some other things that the board needs to consider as a, as a regional sewage district, relative to the development. For instance, how are they gonna transfer assets to us relative to their sewer system?
Yeah.
We need to make sure that they understand that we have standards for the development of that sewer. And we need to determine what standard we're gonna ask them to achieve. I'm assuming we would employ our, gravity sewer, standards. I don't know if they're planning anything else, but it seems reasonable to, in a brand new subdivision, to be able to do that. Normally, when we look at low pressure, that's a retrofit in an existing community. In this case, I think gravity sewer is appropriate. And so what conditions, what kind of a contract will Barry need to assemble relative to that asset transfer? And obviously, it'll be an incremental transfer as they build out phases of the project. And then what obligation do the existing or the new customers have to kind of equalize the investment of the districts already made in the system? You know, starting back with Rolling Prairie Phase 1. So, and I think that's probably going to require some analysis by your financial advisor relative to is there a system development charge or something like that that's appropriate for that? I would say there probably is. So those as that project advances, we probably need to develop a checklist of things that the board's going to need to think about. And if you're okay with it, I can draft such a checklist in correspondence and send it to you. So
Thank you.
I think that's appropriate, and we want to make sure we get, we have design review.
right,
When they design their sewer system, we need a review, and we need a construction inspection of some sorts,
right,
so that
Right.
we're making sure it's put in properly. And we need whatever kind of, design review, we need to look at when they build the next subdivision, are the lift stations or the manholes in the proper
right.
proper place. We need to look at the future. We're a regional sewer district.
Right, exactly. If there's growth that could happen from that system, we should be asking them to tell us what that would look like.
Yep.
You know, so that makes good sense.
What is this location again?
Is it in the city or in the county?
It's in the county.
Okay.
It's at the intersection of 350 East and State Road 2, just on the south side. When
Okay.
the city and the regional sewer district agreed to the service area, this happened to be in the service area.
Okay,
Okay.
So that makes good sense.
Yep.
thank you.
So I will before your next meeting, I will put together kind of a checklist of things that probably need to happen as that discussion advances. I'm assuming they're going to plan commission and you know, at some point, the county's gonna ask us, are you willing to do this? And,
Yeah, I was gonna comment on that, Ken. You would think that at some point we would be approached by either the plan commission, the attorney for the plan commission, or the attorney for the developer,
right,
kind of, when they're at the stage that they think it's gonna happen, that they would be coming here asking or proposing something.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's great that we're ready,
yeah,
but ultimately it's kind of their responsibility to carry the ball to us and.
yeah.
So
I think they owe the board, the trustees, a presentation of some sort.
Right.
So-
But I think it'd be great to have kind of our cheat sheet in
Yeah.
advance so we
I will.
know
Yep.
what to expect.
Yep.
and I'm on the plan commission, and it was actually voted down, that subdivision at their last meeting. Not to give a favorable recommendation, but from what I understand, they're going to come back with a smaller scope in the houses, like around 70 to 100 instead of
200 something.
Okay. Makes
So
sense.
just so I understand it, so if they come back, then that's when they start the ball rolling and then start.
Only if they're approved.
Yeah, it's a long process. I mean,
Okay, but they have to get approved, then we're talking the right number, then they go to whatever boards they have to. Okay, thank you.
How does infrastructure get reviewed and approved in the county? Is there a site review?
there's a
Is there-
plat committee that meets. I don't.
Yeah, I don't do as much work in the county, I mean, I have, but more in Michigan City, and it would be probably what the city of LaPorte does. I would assume there's a plat committee where before you even, well, I don't know, if there's a zoning change that was required, that's your kind of prelude. Then you go to plan commission work, which is usually a plat committee or a tech committee where all the different departments weigh in on
Yeah.
utilities, roads, drainage.
And I know Mitch is involved with all that.
Yeah, and then I would assume they've got to get, I don't know whether it's a PUD or it's just a traditional subdivision, but I mean, I would think that they've got at least 2 or 3 meetings to go before they would be coming our way, I would think, to know that it's actually going to happen.
Yep.
Probably something that if we develop a template when we're asked, and you
Right.
really could be asked anywhere in the county, take up, to take over a collection system that's connected to another treatment provider. I mean,
It's better to be proactive than
yep,
react.
yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's some kind of plan review committee that looks at the subdivision once it gets past the plan commission, where it's the technical, do we have a seat there? Do we wait and do it after the fact, after they've already approved all the roads and everything? I'm not quite sure what the best way.
Well, I know Mitch is involved with the plat committee, and I'm pretty sure that's where it goes, where they work out everything. And
Yeah.
It's a good question, Jerry, because I'm not sure if that process takes place before. I mean, I know that it used to take place more before, meaning the kind of specifics of utilities, drainage would take place before you even got to a preliminary approval for the subdivision itself. Now, once it's all approved, that's a fair question. Is that then who sits down with the developer or the builder and says, okay, let's look at exactly what you're going to do? I mean, presumably that's been all approved on your plat and your drainage plan and what you've submitted.
So Mitch is on that. Okay. Will somebody give Mitch a call and make sure? Okay.
Will
got it.
do.
Thank
Will do.
you.
Yep.
Good. Can't hurt to offer service to new customers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So next on for JPR on the agenda is a proposed timeline for the Hudson Saucony project and what we would see coming up over the next couple of months. As you know, the survey work has already begun out there relative to the aerial mapping. And JPR did conduct about a half a day reconnaissance visit to the site, and we'll probably do a couple more going forward to kind of confirm some of the things that we are presenting in the preliminary engineering report. And we'd probably achieve some preliminary conclusions relative to the placement of grinder pumps and what we think overall we're going to be capable of doing within the service area. And we will update you as we formalize that going forward. We are, as you know, talking to bond counsel and fiscal advisor relative to the issuance of a bond anticipation note to cover the non-construction costs, the preliminary non-construction costs. And so later in your agenda, you're talking about the potential for procuring the bond counsel. We have spoken preliminarily with the individual that appears to be the best choice for that. And he's ready to go to work on this. So relative to the schedule, so in September, you should be seeing a resolution relative to the authorizing a bond anticipation note, and that gets things started for the fiscal advisor and the bond counsel to begin to market that product, and then probably through October and then into November, hopefully you would be ready to close on that temporary funding for the project to start being able to cover costs. It's not going to stop us from proceeding, but at probably by the end of November, if your temporary funding is in place, then every expense that you will have going forward will have coverage. So, and Steve Carter and Randy Rampola, the bond counsel, can lead you through that process pretty completely. So it's very typical for a project like this. As you know, we scored number one on the project priority list in the fundable range. And I would report that that's a pretty amazing thing for a small district, and for the first time that project appeared on the project priority list for SRF. So that's an amazing accomplishment. And that also means that you should be looking forward to the highest level of cooperation from the funding agency at the State Revolving Loan Fund. You also will remember that we had decided to take every advantage of available funding and procure funding from two agencies, part of it from USDA and part of it from the State Revolving Loan Fund. And it looks like right now, depending on how the discussions with both go forward, that we would potentially do the wastewater treatment facility using funds from the U.S. Department of Agriculture through their Rural Development Program. We can get a below market rate interest there when we use the weighted average of the income demographic for both townships. It looks pretty attractive, and then probably stretch that debt out over 40 years. So again, with an eye towards doing everything we can to control the utility rate to the customer.
Are there grants, pardon me, Ken, are there any grant monies out there through Okra
Yeah,
that we would qualify?
through Okra,
Or not, I'm sorry, through Rural Development.
USDA.
Yeah.
There is a potential, depending on what fiscal year we hit, that the project could qualify for grant funds through USDA.
Okay.
Although I would probably have to say that it's likely that you will see a high degree of subsidization coming from the SRF program. I spoke to a few of those folks on my way over here relative to Hudson Saugony, and I also spoke to the head of the IFA about this project a couple of weeks ago, and they have confirmed that the project will continue to score high on the project priority list because it hits every scoring aspect. And it is a significant project that's going to affect a lot of homes. And so they're very interested in advancing this project. So even though we would be delaying the project to the 2024 fiscal year for SRF, we should still see a high degree of subsidization coming from them. And that could take the form of long-term, low-interest loans for as long as 35 years. And I'm anticipating that loan product from the SRF may even actually get under the USDA's interest rate at some point. The potential for zero interest loans, and then the potential for forgivable ban, and forgivable ban being the highest level of subsidization you can get.
Awesome.
So anyway, in talking to the leadership at SRF, they are not worried about, as a matter of fact, they appreciated the fact that we didn't want to commit to delivering the project in March of 23, and that we gave them enough notice so they can move that money to other needy communities. So they appreciate that when we're like, okay, and to be honest with you, there's a lot to do on this project, and it's going to take every bit of 2023 to get it done. So the schedule has us targeting advertisement for construction bids in 2023 in September, and then receiving bids in October, providing a recommendation that same month, asking our rate consultant for a final rate report based on the negotiations that we will have completed by then with the funding agencies, and then introducing a rate ordinance also in 23, in October of 23, conducting a public hearing in November of 23, and then probably closing in early 24. And that schedule seems to be appropriate from SRF and USDA's viewpoint. So,
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
yes,
I'm just looking at the map of the service area, and why is that western portion of Hudson Lake not included? I'm just wondering, because there's like a part of the lake that just.
well, there are so few houses there, Dahlia, that the project it starts to lose its return. We can't support it, basically. And one of the things that I would want to say is that we, working with the members of the board that would be, wanting to participate as an engineering committee, there may be other areas that we want to take a very close look at, where we have sparsely populated neighborhoods, where the construction of a collection main may not be supportable. So I don't know of any at this point standing here right now, but we're going to hopefully do that analysis and talk to you about some of those areas that you might consider. But right now we have within the customer group about 1,100 equivalent dwelling units, which is a good size project. That's for anybody. That's a good size project. So
The church and the Catholic church and the grade school
they're remote.
I'm sure they have interest.
They're remote, and I know from the past that both did. So we'll probably have to open up some discussion with them relative to how serious they are about that. We can still reach out and bring them in, but with the deal that the trustees made with the Indiana Toll Road relative to the route for the force main connection to the treatment facility going down the southerly right-of-way fence on the toll road, that moved that connection point away from those two customers. We used to go right by them. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to be a little bit remote, but if they need it, we can get there. So, and I know that the church had interest. So, and I believe also the elementary school. So. Anyway, so that's the schedule in a nutshell, and we will be giving you continuous updates over the next 365 days, and trying to make sure that you understand all of the details that go along with this project. It's very similar to Rolling Prairie, only much larger. Mm-hmm. So, very good. Any questions for me on that project at this point?
I'm just going to tell you thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Well, I think the trustees have a lot to be proud of relative to this. I think advancing this project when you did, there wouldn't have been a better time. And being able to get it into the SRF, get it into their hands when we did was very strategic, I think.
Well, that was you too. You
Yeah.
as well, and thank you for.
But
Yeah.
also from the standpoint of stretching this out so we get dot the
Time.
i's,
Yep.
cross the t's.
Absolutely.
Very important, I
Yep.
think. So,
Yeah, and there's a lot of detail in the project that
Yep.
has to be dealt
Okay.
with, so, very
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ken, I had a question. Chris Vogler. If things proceed as scheduled, when would they start construction on the expansion of the waste treatment plant and have shovels in the ground in those two communities?
That would be in the, it'd be early 24. Early 2024. And obviously the plan is to keep the existing facility fully operational while we add capacity and double the footprint, basically. So,
Okay, all right, thanks, Ken.
okay, very good.
Do we have an operation to, description of the treatment plant?
We haven't developed that yet, but that's something that we can certainly put in place. It's going to be very similar to what we currently are doing there, although we're going to solve some issues through this project, headworks, namely,
Yeah,
that we know we need to do.
the operation is fairly simple, and we've got, seems like an off-the-shelf control system would be appropriate, part of the expansion.
Right.
Instead of
Right.
a proprietary system. It's always been one of my goals.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk more about that, Jerry.
Yep.
You bet.
Thanks, Ken.
You bet.
Okay, moving on. We had executive committee for the bond council recommendation. So the executive committee recommends Randy Rumpala with Barnes and Thornburg.
Need a motion?
Yeah, unless there's any questions on that.
And I just wanted to say that I think Steve and I both got copied on Randy sending his proposal. And so I've reviewed it. It looks pretty standard to me. His fee is, I believe, barring any, I mean, they always kind of build in, all of us in all our professions build in, I mean, if something bizarre happens, they may have to adjust it, but essentially it's not to exceed $55,000, which seems reasonable to me in light of the size of this project, particularly in relation to the last go-round project. I mean, we're talking about a project, I don't know, 10 times larger than phase 2. So it seems like a reasonable fee, and Randy I've seen do this all over the state. Barnes and Thornburg is a good firm, and Randy is very good. A good communicator too. That's the one thing that impressed me. Bond work is not something we lawyers who don't specialize in it know much about, but he does a great job coming to a board, coming to a public meeting, and kind of explaining it in real terms that we can understand. So
Steve,
This is, I'm sorry.
Steve, did you have any problem? Did you have a chance to take a look at it?
I spoke with Randy a couple weeks ago, and we discussed the project at length. Probably spent 45 minutes on the phone with him, and believe he has a good understanding of where you guys are heading. And just echoing what Barry said, I've worked with Randy in the past. It's been years, but certainly capable and a great communicator, as Barry said. So I'm good with it.
Thank you.
This covers a bond anticipation note. Is there potentially a follow-up bond, or is this all state revolving loan?
Both products that we're recommending are loan products. However, the process for entering into a loan agreement is the same as issuing a revenue bond. So I'm assuming that what Steve and Randy will probably bring to you is a bond ordinance that covers both or all three.
That's where I was going.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's typical what we've been doing.
And his proposal speaks about that as well.
Okay.
Covers bond anticipation notes in addition to the regular bond process.
Okay.
Thank God.
Okay, Marcy, did you have a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for Barnes and Thornburg for bond counsel. Are there any questions? Jennifer, you want to do roll call?
Marcella Kunstick,
Yes.
Jerry Jackson,
Aye.
John Carr,
Yes.
Delia Zegas,
Aye.
Mark Danielson,
Aye.
Amanda Laners,
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, next on the agenda is the engineering committee, statement of qualifications. Engineering services recommendation is JPR. Does somebody from the engineering committee have a comment?
Now I have a motion to approve.
Now at this stage, we're choosing an engineer, but then we're going to follow up. They give us the formal proposals. Is that the way this works? Yeah.
Correct.
Can we have a motion?
I'll second it.
And a second. Are there any questions on the motion?
No, I just comment that JPR does this sort of work. This is what they do, yeah.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second for JPR is engineering services. Jennifer, do you want to do roll call?
Wait, who made the motion?
Mark.
Mark?
Dahlia, second.
Okay. Marcella Kunstick?
Yes.
Jerry Jackson?
Aye.
John Carr?
Aye.
Dahlia Zegas?
Aye.
Mark Danielson?
Aye.
Amanda Laners?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. Next thing on the agenda is new business. Anything under new business?
Just your meeting date next month?
I see the next meeting is on September 27th, and I'm just gonna say I have to be remote for that one, so just keep that in mind, please.
Okay.
Jennifer, I received an email. I think I forwarded it to you and Ken.
Yeah.
They were asking for a bunch of information that.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, anything else under new business? Old business? Anything under old business? Motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
This is from Steve. We
Second.
find it.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to adjourn. Any questions? Jennifer, do roll call, please.
Marcella Kunstick?
Yes.
Jerry Jackson?
Aye.
John Carr?
Aye.
Dahlia Zegas?
Aye.
Mark Danielson?
Aye.
Amanda Laners?
Aye.
I'll be right back.
All right.